So, as a founder, have you found yourself within the last couple months, maybe 6 months, maybe all this year? Well, this year's the last 6 months that you have been consuming information. You're in different rooms, you're consuming, you're attending this event, you're attending this conference, but nothing is really moving forward. Well, welcome to the Executive Innovation Show. I'm your host, Chevy. And as your federal execution partner, retired Air Force veteran of 22 plus years, business development consultant, trainer, and author of my book, Woman Breed. So definitely I am here to talk about when you as a founder is consuming so much information that execution is not happening. And from someone who loves school, loves to learn, loves to read, loves to, what's happening here, what's new, what's different. I understand how we can get bogged down in consuming so much information. We're just in learning mode that we fail to execute. But I'm here to remind you and tell you and share with you why you need to kind of release that right now and step more fully into more execution, because there's so many information being released in the federal space, the federal market, what is cyber, federal opportunities. It's a lot. So I want to make sure that you get out of that and move fully into more strategic execution. So come on in, say hello. And as always, I want you to tell me where you're joining from. Also, I want you to share in the chat what you do, who you support, and your services that you provide. And the reason I ask you all to do that is because I want to make sure that someone who is watching this, live right now, or maybe later on, could potentially connect with you and work with you, because the goal is to, how do we collaborate? How do we create partnership? How do we get into the mode of execution? Because we don't want to just consume information. We want to truly make sure that we are connected to the right individual. So come on in and share what you do. And the reason I'm talking about this topic today, because I've been there myself. I've seen, founders. I've had conversations with founders who they're, clients I've served in different areas of my businesses, where they're just consuming. And I am that leader. I am that consultant who's going to say, okay, we did that. You did that. Now, what are you doing next? Okay. So when it comes to where you're at currently right now as a tech founder, I know there's a lot of opportunities. I see them here on LinkedIn. I get them in my email. I get them from the different agencies. There's a lot of opportunities that you can tap into. Okay. Because we know cyber is available. We know $4 billion is available annually. It's being spent already. We know that, federal contracts are available every single day. Okay. Excuse me. And we know people are winning contracts every single day as well. Also, we know, that partnership matters, but also you're not doing what you need to do to really lock in those core and strategic and aligned partnerships. And that commercialization matters. So you have a lot of data points already. But the thing that is hindering you from moving forward, from getting those opportunities for applying for your first cyber phase 1, is your ability to just consume. Excuse me. Let me get some water. And you don't need more awareness. You are well aware, my friend. Okay. You got to tap into execution. And what execution is going to do for you is going to start moving the needle forward. It's going to get you out of learning mode. It's going to get you out of training and education mode and get into the next phase, which is the execution aspect. Because more likely, we have a lot of incubators. We have a lot of organizations offering different things. But what I have found by going to these organizations and just observing as well too, and even applying for some and being part of it, is just, again, more information, more processes. But the gap that I have seen is, you get this information, they give you all this workbook and everything, but then it's like, after you leave the program, who's helping you to truly execute that piece, which is the core essential thing that you need to be doing in your business, because you can gather all that information, you can learn all the tools and all the things, but is the application aspect. And a lot of these organizations that are available, which is amazing and great, that is the part that they are lacking, which is the true execution aspect. And that's where I come in to help founders like yourself to get that moving forward. Okay, so you have to move out of a training mode, learning mode, and into execution mode. And another thing that I want to say is, like, you have to make sure that you are in the right community. And this is something that I, talk about very frequently. And you have to make sure the community that you're in, is it producing anything? And you may be in a community for years, maybe months. And again, you're in learning mode. You're attending the live events. You're attending their in person, their virtual. But it's just like, what are you gaining from that? And, I have a really good friend, and they were sharing how they were part of this organization for a couple of years. And, they will show up, do what they, show up, be involved, all the things. And they have to ask themselves, like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, I'm showing up, I'm giving value, I'm delivering training, but there's no win-win in that situation. And I have been there myself, and maybe you are currently there as a business owner, as a founder, where you felt like this community was something that you needed to be a part of, but in actuality, it's not. And as a CEO, as a decision maker, you have to decide if you continue on this path and spend another year and nothing happens, or you decide, okay, this community is not the right community for me. Because after a while, you should see some type of opportunities where that founder or that potential person or someone in that group is saying, hey, Chevy, hey, Lisa, I'm just throwing a name out there. Hey, we would love for you to do X, Y, and Z. And I want to share a quick example of something that happened to me. So I was introduced to this community by someone that I met last year. And I came into this community, introduced myself. It's a community of women, and it's a community of veteran women, which, as a veteran, and there's different branches in there, which is always great. And just for me showing up, sharing value, but also connecting to these ladies, one of the leader in the group reached out to me, say, hey, Sherry, through a phone call, here's what we're looking at doing. Here's what we would love for you to come in as a partnership to help us get to X, Y, and Z. So that is me being in the right room. One, it's a service. It's focused on women veteran, impact, transition, business. And again, we have commonalities in all of us serving in different branches. So you have to look at, when you're in this room, how are you connected to this room? How can you leverage it, but also how can you give back to that room as well too? And because of me being in the room, adding value, they saw, okay, Chevy does this in her business. She does, proposal writing. Also, she provides, leadership training on her leadership side. Can you come in to do a training on the power of self-leadership in 2 weeks? Of course. Oh, can we add you for this potential opportunity? That, of course. So I'm sharing that as an example, because being in the right room brings you results. Like, you will get results, but you have to understand the room. You have to know how to leverage the room, but also serve the room as well. It's not just to leverage it. You have to look at how can you serve the room as well. So again, what communities are you in? How many communities are you in? Because sometimes you can be in multiple 10, 20, 30 communities, which is a lot. So as a founder who is pursuing cyber opportunities, federal opportunities, partnerships, you have to look at, am I in the wrong rooms, or do I need to adjust? Or am I in the right room, but I'm not leveraging that room to the best of my ability? And if that's something that you're like questioning and you're asking, like, Chevy, how do I know? Reach out to me, send me a DM, because this is something that I support clients with, is helping you to look at what rooms you need to be in, also identifying core partnerships, which is essential for your federal growth, but also helping you to identify core SBIR Phase 1 proposals that are truly aligned with what you are building, what you are looking to build. Okay. And also identifying the agency. So if that is something, those are things that you are considering, you have been thinking about, and you're saying to yourself, I have been in execution mode for the last several months, and I need someone to help me. I mean, you're in the training mode for the last, consuming mode for the last 6 months or 3 months or the last 60 days, and you want someone to come in and help you like move from learning and consuming to truly execution. And that is something I for sure can help you with. Okay. So definitely, like I shared the example, the person reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them. Second, they offered me an opportunity, and now I'm going to be delivering a training in their organizations and create a partnership as well too. And what you want to do as a founder, again, you have to look at what is the data saying about where you are currently at. And let me make sure that I'm not seeing, because I know sometimes it will. Yeah, so definitely you want to look at the data of, like, truly ask yourself, how many hours are you spending every day consuming information? Whether it's a podcast, I'm guilty of this sometimes because I love a podcast, a good podcast on sales, something that's very informative, SBIR information. Because I'm not consuming all the information, because there's a lot of information about SBIR in general. And I'm not, looking at all the agencies either. Like, I'm looking at core specific agency because I'm on their email list. So I am looking at data that I want to look at. Same thing applies to you as a founder. If you are in that mode of consuming, and you're truly ready to execute. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. How many opportunities have you identified within the last couple of weeks? Within the last 30 days? How many have you decided to pursue? Like, not just collecting, because that's part of the consuming. You're just collecting information, collecting proposal, going into sam.gov, looking at stuff, creating your Excel, plugging things in. But how many have you decided that, yes, I'm going to pursue this? I'm going to start doing it. This is the deadline. Here's when I'm going to start writing, or here's what I'm going to reach out for support, which if you already started the process, you want to look at reaching out for support, whatever it looks like for you. So you definitely want to make that decision ahead as well too. If you like, hey, I can do this on my own, wonderful. Or if you like, I need support to make sure that I'm executing, because I'm still running a business, I'm still leading a team, I'm still, serving clients. And you have to ask yourself, do you have the capacity to do all of that on top of what you're currently doing right now? And if you have a family, add that on to the list as well too, which is the number one on your list, which should be. Also, when was the last time you submitted a SBIR Phase 1 proposal? Or are you just hesitant? You're just like, you want to, but you're afraid to move forward. You're afraid to submit because you're afraid of the rejection. If you don't, you will never know. But even if your proposal is not accepted beyond Phase 1 or for Phase 1, guess what? You get data points. You get data points to see how you can make it better so that you can pursue that next opportunities, because opportunities are coming out pretty much every day. As we know, the first Wednesday of every month, Department of War release their topics. Today's the first Wednesday of the month. So guess what? Topics are out live. So again, opportunities are available. Don't just consume. I need you to move into execution mode. And if you're at this stage of growing your business and I need to, not me, but you need to step more fully into execution, into your leadership, into really identifying SBIR, identifying federal opportunities and submitting those opportunities, reach out to me. Send me a DM with the word ready. Let's have a quick conversation and let's see if it's a good fit and see how I can support you to get into more execution mode. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for joining me on the Executive Innovation Show, #replay. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Executive Innovation Show. And if you are a founder and you're like watching this and you're thinking about it, I invite you to reach out. Please share this with a business founder, owner that you feel like, hey, they can use this information or they can, will be great to connect with me. Please do so. And as always, I'm here every Wednesday on the Executive Innovation Show. I'm your host, Chevy, your federal execution partner, BD, trainer, facilitator, and author. And I help tech founders, established tech founders like yourself, to pursue cyber and federal innovation opportunities through submitting qualified proposal and helping them to identify core strategic partnership without sacrificing their time or capacity. And as always, I will see you all next Wednesday, same time. Have an amazing day as always.